And to that same point, AT&T and Apple know where your phone is at all times, right? And if they need to get to you, they can. And that gets used appropriately at times. So I think for us, it's about drawing our own lines. I have a very diverse company in terms of politics, religion, or everything we have covered. And we have to set our own boundaries that we get comfortable with, because there's a right way to solve crime and there's a wrong way. And we're trying to do the right way.
So Facebook has had an issue with their employees stalking and looking at private messages, location data, et cetera, all down the line over the years. Multiple cases of engineers doing this, basically stalking ex-girlfriends and it's 100% men doing it so far, to the best of my knowledge in the cases I've seen. You are now the owner of a set of data that is ginormous. How do you ensure that your employees do not stalk their exes or otherwise compromise your data?
Yeah, so there's both a legal component and then an operational component. So the legal component is I'll make one minor modification to your statement. We're actually not the owner. So from a legal perspective, it's not our data. We are the custodian of it, from a hosting perspective, but legally, myself, my engineers, anyone have no legal right to go look at the data.
Okay, but you technically can, because you would have to tweak the algorithm at times and look at it. So we're in the sort of Alexa category where...
So it is encrypted, though, at rest. Okay. So an engineer would have to go incredibly rogue, and I'm not even sure technically how they would pull this off, would have to then go unencrypt that image, which I don't think they could actually do. Got it. And then go pull it, and they're now pulling a random image.
If one of your customers, in San Ramon said, hey, we think something's not working here, the license plates are doing ones for L's, you can't even go look at their data set?
So here's the operational piece. So there's a legal piece of we can't go access it in bulk. An operational component is we do provide customer support. And so the only thing anyone on my staff can see is the last image captured. So that if someone does call and say, hey, there was a hurricane down in Florida and our camera's really foggy. It's like, well, really? So we can pull up that last image and say, it is foggy.
We'll go find their ex-girlfriend or ex-wife's, ex-spouses.
Exactly.
And track it. So
there's no God mode like other companies have unfortunately built at times and had to undo.
Because in looking at the EFF's position, and they tend to take a pretty all or nothing, they believe there should be no license plate reading services.
Yeah, that's right.
Is their position, because just looking at their site, I'll just read from their site, location-based information like license plate data can be very revealing. By matching your car to a particular time, date, location, and then building a database of that information over time, law enforcement can learn where you work and live, what doctor you go to, which religious services you attend, and who your friends are. But in this statement of how they're framing the discussion, the overtime is a key component here, and the overtime is 90 days at best. And you do have location, but you don't have pictures of the driver. So
you've really
thought through their objection, haven't you?
I just think, look, I like you, I'm a normal person that's a citizen in America that wants to continue living in a country that has these same ideals. And I think we also want to live in a place that's safe.
Yes.
And so there's got to be a world where we can have both of these.
Yeah.
And I think the part where I tend to disagree with the EFF and the ACLU is they're talking about a world where literally our police departments can't do their job. We're going to give them no tools, no technology. We're going to give them a rabbit's foot and say, good luck out there. And I just think that's a bit misguided when there are ways to enforce transparency and accountability and give tools. So I agree. I think my team and myself put a lot of energy into how to build this so that every city, regardless of politics or wealth level, can be safe.
Got it. And there are other services, Vigilance Solutions, Learn System, that includes billions of license plates, and they are selling that service. Maybe you could speak to their approach versus yours.
Yeah, I mean, they are the incumbents that, in my opinion, kind of took a wrong turn. They sell their data, they store it forever. The majority of their revenue comes from data sales, not from solving crime. And so they actually take all that aggregated data and sell it to to anyone who has the right price. And I think that's a really slippery slope.
Yeah. Vigilant Solutions is your competitor, I guess.
Yep. That's our largest competitor.
Do they make the like real-time license plate scanning stuff as well? Or are they just have the database more?
Their primary focus is the database. They have a camera, but the biggest difference is you and I were talking about, we obviously read the license plate, but what we really pick up is what we call the vehicle fingerprint. So some criminals are smart enough to take off their license plate.
Yep.
We're still going to pick up your make, your model,
perfect,
what kind of stickers you have. Do you have damage? Do you have a roof rack? Do you have aftermarket tires? Like, we're looking across exactly how a detective would. And so we can provide that same type of search experience. So there was a recent case where it was a drive-by shooting in a town. The criminal was smart, had no license plate, but wasn't that smart because he drove that exact same car through the neighborhood 2 days earlier to case it. And so with our system, they could easily do a lookalike search and say, hey, I'm looking for that exact same car. Have we seen it? Oh, yes, we have. And there it is with a license plate on the exact same road. So with a traditional system, you can't do something like that.
And yeah, so you don't want to be in vigilance business, and vigilance business is truly scary. I would be with the ACLU on going after Vigilant, and I think the ACLU should be actually pro what you're doing. Vigilant has, according to the Wall Street Journal, more than 30 license plate scans for every registered vehicle on the nation's roads today. So they have 30 moments in time for everybody's car. That seems like mass surveillance, and a private company should not be allowed to do it. What you're doing seems amazing, and people should be able to do it. Obviously, Clearview AI scraped social media for 1 billion faces. We had them on the program. I also think the tracking of who uses this, because you have, I'm certain, a log of every time law enforcement looks up license plates, and they can't turn their logs off. Today, many small business owners are busier than ever. Since they're focused on managing and growing their business, they can't always spend the time they wish they could on recruiting. And you're only as good as your team. I talk about that all the time on this podcast. And that's why LinkedIn Jobs has made it easier to find and hire the best candidates for free. Get started by posting your job for free to reach LinkedIn's network of 740 million professionals. Oh my God, there's a lot of people on LinkedIn. Fill out targeted screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified candidates with the experience, skills, and motivation you need. Then it's easy to filter and prioritize the top candidates you'd like to interview. We love LinkedIn Jobs at launch and at Inside. We've hired a second producer, a curriculum designer, and a few more researchers. We are crushing it. We're now 18 people here. I can't believe it. It used to be me and like 3 people. Every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn. If you've got a job, you're going to find those job seekers on LinkedIn, and they're going to find that right person for your role right now. Don't waste time. Post your first job for free. That's right, free. LinkedIn is so supportive of this podcast that they're going to let you post your first job for free to prove to you how amazing their product is. That's how confident they are. LinkedIn.com/unicorn. That's LinkedIn.com/unicorn to post your first job listing for free.